it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Hey, welcome back. I'm glad you guys came back this week. I know after some of the things I said last week, I wasn't sure if you'd come back, but I'm really glad to see you here. And we're always glad for your support here at WWDBTV. Today, as I promised, I have got some amazing, amazing special guests. So half of you probably already know these two young ladies. I have here Hilly and Hanna from the Hillywood show.
Hey!
Yay! You did it right.
So for those 3 or 4 of my viewers who don't know anything about the Hillywood show, you guys do parodies of TV shows and movies and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do.
Cool.
We've been doing that for 13 years.
Why?
I don't know. We've been doing it for 13 years, and it started off as a hobby, just for fun, just kids making movies, making films.
They were awful, by the way.
Yeah,
That's how I ended up here.
Pretty cringy, and we just continued having fun, and then we had a viral hit in 2009, and we said, hey, maybe we should keep going with this thing. And I could have never told you 13 years ago that it would have been going on this long.
and I've got to say that I have been really impressed. I think I first met you guys 2 or 3 years ago on Corey Taylor's show.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started looking at your work, I'm going, oh my God, you know?
Well, when you first met us, I remember she was like, oh, he's going to help take the calls. And I don't think, like, you were like, who are these people? Why do they have so many fans calling in?
Yeah, the calls did not stop there back then. You were just like, go, next call. We've got calls. Let's go faster. And I was like, okay.
And I think that's what made you go like, well, who
are they?
Yeah.
Well, and I forget what was the first one. I think it was the Doctor Who, because I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I mean, I love Doctor Who. And David Tennant, I think, is really, really one of the best.
Oh, for sure.
I know.
Now, I mean, my first Doctor was Tom Baker.
Oh,
So,
nice.
You know, and my cosplay, when I do the cosplay for Doctor Who, is I just have the scarf. I found the Doctor Who scarf. But anyway, the work and the quality of the work that you guys put out, I am just absolutely blown away. And every chance I get it to show somebody what you're doing, it's like they can't believe that you know you haven't been to film school and all of this is self-taught and
Yes.
why the parodies though? I mean, what made you say we want to do? You know, were you big fans of Al Yankovic?
Ever since we've been really young, it's been weird. I feel like, you know, you kind of go like, there's like a big God story here, but like you can't see through the visual. It's all still slightly blurry, and as the layers come off, it gets clearer and clearer. And from a young age, we would cosplay. Like, I remember my first cosplay, I was the Raisin Man. And I was like 4 years old, and I don't know why I wanted to dress up. I just wanted to be the Raisin Man.
Yeah.
But like cosplay wasn't a thing. That's like more like we dress up at Halloween. No, I wanted to dress every day, whenever. And I didn't do anything. I didn't act or anything. I just was like, I'm the Raisin Man. Like, oh, cool. Then she came along, you know, 4 years later as my little sister, and I started dressing her up. But she was like into the whole acting, and she used to make me laugh, and she'd act as the characters. Then it turned into homemade movies. Then it turned into basically what we started to discover was we have a love for film.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that really kick-started it after making really crappy home movies was we saw The Lord of the Rings. And she was about 11, and I was about 14 at the time, or 15. And I remember she looked at me and she's like, we can do this.
Had you read the books, or did you know anything?
No.
Okay, so you
No.
just saw The Lord of the Rings for the first time.
And my uncle, God bless his heart, he took us without telling us this is like a trilogy. So we were so angry. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, and the last movie won't come out till 2003. And I was like, that's too long. Like, it was such a shock to me. But before that, I don't know why, like, you know, we would film like, oh, we're going to film The Wizard of Oz. Well, why are we doing that? Well, we like the movie so much, we're going to refilm it.
Recreate it.
And so that's what happened with The Lord of the Rings. We liked the movie so much, we refilmed it and made like a horrible rendition.
It's awful, but it's
so
hilarious.
somehow there was like something already dialed in that we loved the movie so much. It's like we almost wanted to create it ourselves. And I think that's when parody came into play.
That's it.
I think that's why we've become so screen accurate with our parodies and our productions, is because we have such a love, and almost like we want to play in that world. Like, I love that movie so much, I want to play in it and make it feel real and not just put on a sloppy wig and dance around. I think it's because we want to live there. Like, I want to be that character. I want to be in that place, and that's what Hillywood is.
And that's just how it's come. It's a long story, but we just have loved it.
It's hard to kind of grasp, but that's a good question.
I do get it, and I do get the my girlfriend at the time, I took her to see Lord of the Rings. Now, I had read all the books.
Oh, see, and we were watching it. We're like, why are his feet so big? And they're like,
why are they short?
And our friend's like, he's a hobbit. And we're like,
what's a hobbit?
He's like, oh, is this the one where he goes with Gandalf to the Lone Mountain to help the dwarves? And we were like, what is going on? Like, but we were captivated.
But they were cool characters.
We were so captivated, and we had no idea what the story was about. And they're like, Sauron and the One Ring, and we're like, what's happening? I mean, like, just to never know anything about that story and how it was put out by Peter Jackson, like, we were so sucked in, and that's why by the end we were so
what did your
upset.
girlfriend think?
Same thing you did. She looked at me when the movie ended, and she goes, "Is this the intermission?" Or I go, "No. This is the end of the first story." She goes, "What do you mean the first story?" I said, "Well, this is a trilogy. You know, there's
She
more."
was like, "What?"
And she goes, "Well, when are we going to see the next one?" I said, "Oh, yeah, it comes out in a couple of years." What? You brought me to this? How can you do that to me?
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, she was playing a little bit, but it was like,
it's very upsetting because you're so.
It's such a well-made movie.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, and I loved having read the books and then seen the films, and I knew Peter Jackson. I didn't know him. I know who he was, but that. When I knew he was doing the movie, and I thought, okay, this is going to be good. I got to see this. And when same thing. I just, you're sucked right in, and the hobbits were such great characters, and all of that, And I need to jump ahead just a little bit, because just earlier today I showed one of my other guests here the Supernatural Troupe.
Oh,
yeah.
Because I was telling them about blah 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 blah, and she said, "Oh, cool." And I said, "Yeah, you want to see one of the parodies?" And they did this, and this. And she goes, "Yeah, okay, fine." I said, "You have a favorite?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, I love Supernatural."
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
So
there you go.
Number 2, and she goes, "Those are the guys. Those are the guys."
You're like, I know.
How did that come about? How were you able to? I mean, I know you did 1 and 2, but how were you able to get the cast to join?
Starting from Supernatural 1,
right?
Supernatural Parody 1. We had met Osric Chow in Spain at a convention, and Osric plays Kevin in Supernatural.
Right.
And at the time, we minded our manners, but he was very interested, like, who are you and your YouTubers? Because everyone...
It's very much his personality. He's not the normal, typical star that's quiet to themselves. He'll talk to anybody, very, very down to earth.
And so he was curious as to why, like, YouTubers were there, because everyone else there was a superstar, and here we are, little YouTubers, and we got requested to go to Spain.
In Spain that wanted
and he
to
goes,
see
well,
us.
what's your stuff? And I said, we're the Hillywood show. I was really embarrassed because that was like my first time,
Telling
with
somebody.
like a star, telling them what I do, and it's not as good as the real stuff. And so he came down the next morning when I was getting breakfast, and he was like, you totally undersold yourself. Like, this is amazing. Holy cow. Like, what the heck? And if you ever do anything, would you guys do cameos?
Was this right after you had done Supernatural 1?
No.
Okay.
This was like back, I think he had watched Doctor Who and Pirates of the Caribbean parody. This was in 2013, or not 14. It was one of those. And he was like, he offered. It was him. He said, I'll do a cameo if you ever need me. Your stuff is great. So we got him.
So we were. I remember. No, not really. It was more of like, is that like a thing?
Could that be a thing? Yeah.
We had never ever thought to ever reach out and incorporate celebrities. So he kind of opened that door, and I think that kind of like opened our eyes to go, maybe that would be. Could that be a thing? That's like a thing. Oh, you just don't think. We just never thought.
And so we reached.
And it's finding the right product, the right project, and the right
for
people.
sure. You can't just force it in. You can't just shove
it.
Yeah.
So we didn't contact him for a couple months, but we had hung out before that just as friends. And we thought we were going to do the Walking Dead parody, and I said, hey, do you think Osric could play Glenn? I think he'd be really great. So we called, and he's like, is it supernatural? And I was like, no, it's the Walking Dead. Can you still do it? And he was totally down. He did it. And from there, we still had a relationship.
You had like a friendship after something
Yeah, we
like
did.
that. So we just stayed
What did we do
touch.
after that? The Lord of the Rings parody?
I think it was the
yeah,
Lord of the Rings
so,
was
you know what I
after
mean?
that.
It wasn't ever this forced, let's meet Osric to do supernatural. It was never that
Right.
at all, at any point. And then I finally came up with a concept for Supernatural. That was like #1 requested, but I never did
That
it.
was brilliant.
Thank you.
It was great. I loved it.
Thank you.
And the way that you tied in the Ghostbusters and the supernatural.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The whole thing was fun. So.
It was a lot of fun. But we reached out to him and we said, hey, do you think we could get multiple cameos for the first one? And he said, well, there's a convention in Vegas during this time. Let me see if I can ask Richard, who Richard plays Gabriel in Supernatural.
Right.
And Richard was on the phone with us. We had this big conversation.
Yeah, he's like, so pitch me this idea.
We had to pitch the idea to him and say, they're just going to be dancing in front of a backdrop, really simple, really easy.
This is what we do. We make it for fans.
Right.
I don't think he had ever seen our work either, but then Osric showed him, and that's why he wanted to talk to us, because he's like, well, it's good. I think the fans would like it.
It is good, and it's not, and sometimes not knowing that we can't do something doesn't prevent us from doing it. You know what I mean? It's like I can't make a movie. I've never made a movie. And no one's ever said, well, no, you can't, and you just went out and do it, and then you do the next thing, and you do the next thing, and anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. Feel free.
You're good.
Yeah, feel free to chime in. It's good.
Okay.
But yeah,
And then after that, Richard basically just said, so here's my thing. I like this idea. I'll tell you how. I like it, girls. I like the idea, but I have to see if anyone's interested. So I have emails. I'll send out emails to the people that are going to be there. I'll see if they're even interested in doing this. And I think it was like a matter of like 2 days or something.
Yeah, we got a list.
Like
of
a list
a
of
ton
like
of
13
names.
people that said like, yeah, I'm interested and I'll hop in, but only if I can because we're doing photo ops
Sure.
and autographs and if I get called out. Well, basically we were there for about 4 days, just hung out in a room that was like super small. It was like a 6 by 10.
Yeah, it was tiny. It was like a
super
closet.
tiny, like a closet.
So we
had
put
just
up
our
a little
backdrop with
background,
our lights and a little
we
camera.
sat there.
And we sat there and we just sat there. It was literally like we could do nothing. You have to sit there. We sat for 4 days, and like I remember the first day we got like 2 people or 3 people, but it was people that someone came in and did it first and went and started saying they're doing this fun thing for the fans,
Right.
and the word got out.
Gotcha.
And then over the course of these next couple of days, everyone came, and then eventually they said, I don't think that we can get the 2 main guys.
They're busy.
They're
Their flight leaves.
They're going to
yeah.
be leaving. They're going to be leaving by this time. And we looked at the clock at the end of the day, and it was 10 minutes before. And we go, well, we got, and I think at that point we had like
We had
13
like
or
everybody
14, 18
basically.
or whatever, something like that, 14 people. And we were just ecstatic. We were like, I thought we were going to get like 2 people. Like, seriously. Like, oh my God, all the footage is going to be 2 people, But people will love it. And we were like really content, like in our hearts. We were like, that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think fans will really like this. And I told our cameraman, I go, okay, well, we probably should start packing up the camera, because they're going to tell us to leave at 5. And the next thing you know, like 2 minutes till deadline, they opened the door, and Richard came in with the 2 guys, and he
Oh,
goes,
wow.
hey, girls, girls? And we were like, oh my gosh, and we were like, great. And we like said hi really quick, but it was like so fast.
And all they did was the little ditty. So
they just
Right.
did the little ditty, the little dance.
So when
That
it
was
came to Supernatural Parody 2, that's when it was like, oh my gosh, we are going to ask a lot.
Yeah.
But it was so cool because when we contacted the rest of the cast members and even people who weren't a part of the first one, they just want to do it. It was like they didn't even have to think about it.
Oh,
we just got
you
yes.
call me
when.
anytime.
Yeah,
I'm in.
exactly.
Yeah. They were just
Yeah, and so with Jensen and Jared, we talked to Cliff, who acts as their bodyguard, but he's a really good friend of theirs.
Yeah.
And we said, hey, Cliff, we have this thing at the end. We'd love for them to bust through the doors
Yeah,
and
that
be
was
like
perfect.
the real Ghostbusters. And he's like, that sounds really cool, but I need to ask them.
Right.
And it was really hard because we weren't sure how it would work because the boys aren't located in Los Angeles.
Right.
And they film in Canada. And so Cliff at one point was like, well, maybe you can come here and our guys can build a set. And I was like, but how does that work? Because how do they have time to build a set when they're filming,
Yeah.
and how do we take our camera to film and our crew, and so it was just this weird thing. And it was Cliff who said, hey, we're going to be back in Vegas at a certain time. We'll come in like a day early, get this done, and the boys are down. And he said that Jensen responded with, hell yeah.
All right.
So that was
Yeah.
really cool, and that was a huge blessing.
So how do you decide what you're going to do next? I mean, do you have a whole bucket full of stuff that I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this, and
I mean, Hilly is the one that comes up with the ideas.
right, and that's so you are the creative genius.
She pretty
behind
much
all
Oh,
is
I don't know
this.
if I would go with
And you
genius,
are the
but thank you.
technical genius.
Yeah, I'm the one that she's like, I want to do this next. I'm like, that's going to take 8 months. You know, I have to tell her, but she pretty much comes up with all the ideas. Yes, there's a big bucket of things, but mostly the whole issue for us is just financially. We have to
Right.
know, well, like she goes, I have an idea for Star Wars. No way can we afford that. It would
Because
probably
we can
take
already
too
kind
long.
of project the cost of it.
Right.
We can. She's
Well,
really
you've done
good
a-
with
you've done a
that.
few, so you kind of know, you know
Yeah.
what the equipment's going to cost and location.
Yeah, we know our
all that stuff.
limitations,
Right.
and already the fans are asking like, "Hey, what's the next one?" But we're
Oh, yeah,
still
I got a whole list for you.
we're still recouping from the Umbrella Academy parody because we are funded
Which
on
was
Patreon.
very good, by the way.
Oh,
And I
thank you.
loved all
It's one of my
the-
favorites.
It is, and
I
it
love
was,
that one.
It was funny because I had just finished watching that, and I thought it was a great. I thought it was a great little story. And
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah.
We decided to go different with this one, and Hilly goes, she just couldn't come up with like a general idea because the show is so complex.
Yeah.
And she's like, every character, like, okay, if
Has
we had a
their own
song about
story.
5, what's Luther doing? What's Allison
Yeah.
doing? They're all, it just was so weird.
Yeah.
And then she pitched me the idea. She goes, I just have an idea for like a sketch. And it was kind of just about Five and Dolores and like how, you know, all
And
those
I
things,
love
oh,
Dolores.
she's
I
asleep and all that funny stuff. And I go, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I go, but the problem is I don't think fans will accept it.
Well,
Because
yeah,
it's been so
I
musical
but
for so
I
many
had
years.
already told you about the musical thing.
Yes, you did.
And so she was worried at first that it was all script, and I was like, no, dude, there's music.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't leave out the music, but so she was concerned, you know, people aren't going to be totally in tune with the script because we're known for our music.
Right.
And I go, no, there's 3 songs, the fans will be happy.
Well, the Suicide Squad,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Yes.
That must have been tough to shoot and to act. I mean, with the costume and
That was easier than Umbrella Academy parody.
Really?
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Wow. I wouldn't.
I
have
know.
Umbrella Academy parody was just
Well, it was
like,
harder for you, right?
no.
Well, I had to act in Umbrella Academy parody.
Right.
Suicide Squad, I didn't. That one I actually cut out because there was too many dance sequences
Yeah.
that I had to
She
direct.
was going to
I was
be in
like,
it, but then she
jib,
cut
push,
herself out.
fire. I mean, like I'm like doing everything that's happening because like everyone's like, just tell me when to go. I'm like, well, I'm trying to watch the choreography too.
Yeah.
Who messed up here? And I'm like, I'm doing everything.
Yeah.
And we thought that one was hard. That's all I
Yeah.
can say.
Yeah.
And
We thought that was hard.
The problem was Umbrella Academy parody wasn't, I would say, hard with regards to the concept. Because, like, yes, it's a script. The lines, you know, you're in a room for 2 minutes, you're in another room for 2 minutes. The apocalypse was a bit daunting because we knew
Right.
that's a lot of VFX.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like,
Which I was blown away.
thank you.
That really was good. I mean, that was, and my problem since I started doing this about 4 or 5 years ago, I can't watch TV or movies anymore. I mean, I'm always looking at, I see how they did that. Okay, I got to try. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's and then I have to rewatch it so I can just watch it for fun.
Yeah.
But and I see what you guys have done in your work, and I'm just going, wow.
No.
You know, it's
Thank you
just.
so much.
Oh no,
Thank you.
I'm not.
Well, we say thank you
No, we
because
say thank
it
you.
means
But
something.
that's the other thing that I love about you guys, and I think that your fans do too, is your humility. I mean, you are not, with everything that's happened and all of your fans and everything, I have never gotten the impression that you were, the only word I can say is uppity or
Hoity-toity or,
yeah, hoity-toity or
yeah.
whatever. You're-
Hoity-toity.
You're very
Hoity-toity.
humble, down to earth, great people, nice human beings, and that's sometimes hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you find? What helps you keep that humility?
I think just from our upbringing, you know, our parents really taught us respect of others, kindness, love. I think our faith plays into it a lot. Love your neighbor as yourself.
Right,
That's grounded into us, so that goes down deep. And other than that, and I think she can say the same thing. Since we were huge fans of like the Lord of the Rings,
Right.
Yes.
and we ourselves would go to conventions. We would wait in line. We would get the photo ops. We would get the autographs. And I remember that feeling of I can't wait until
my moment.
Yeah, but I can't wait till.
No, I get that because I've gone to you know, some of the Comic Cons and some of the other conventions and the Kamikaze in LA and you know, I got a great picture of me and George Takei.
Oh,
you know,
cool.
I mean, I was in high school or just finished high school when Star Trek first came out. So you know, these were my heroes, and I got me in 7 of 9,
and that's the thing. Like when you're in a line and people come up to you, like you're in the headspace of I can't wait till he looks at me and he meets me.
Right.
And so when we meet our fans, we like to give them that same experience because I know how it feels when I'd meet someone, they wouldn't even look at me. They wouldn't even look up or acknowledge me. And that's heartbreaking when you're meeting your hero. So we try to give that love and that kindness.
And you do.
Because
and it comes across.
we've
really
been
does.
there and we care for them.
And
I
we recognize ourselves as we're just humans. They're a human, but like when you're in that headspace, like she says, like he's gonna look at me, and he might go, "Oh, you have like nice smile," or "Did you enjoy?" And you're just like, like you don't remember anything because they're looking at you.
But I
That's
think
how they feel about you.
I
and
think
you're
it's
like,
because we've
know
been
buddy.
there
Right.
and
We're
we've
nobody.
we've
That's
had
how
our
we see it.
and sometimes
But you share that love of whatever that piece of art is, whether you know it's music or,
for sure.
or anything like that. I mean, it's that's a shared experience that you have with another human being. They appreciate what you've done. They've seen it. They love it, and it's like, oh wow.
Yeah.
You know, and
definitely.
I mean, when we were taking the calls there a couple times, it's like, I mean, your fans were almost in tears.
I
that they
know,
had
it's
gotten
crazy. I'm like, why are you
And
crying?
it's-
It's just
and
me.
there were
Calm
a
down.
couple of them that I had to tell them, okay, you're gonna have to call back because they couldn't talk. It was like,
Well, because they don't think they'll get through, you know.
Exactly.
And then when
And-
it's like you're on the air, you're like,
but and it's nice. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up is that all of the work that you have done, all of your projects have been funded by your fans, right?
Not all of them.
Oh, okay.
Not all,
I'm
but
sorry, I didn't mean to lie. That was my impression.
you're
no, we'll
fine.
explain.
Please, would you please explain?
Yes,
Sure.
we'll explain.
For the first, well, we started back in 2006, and that, because it was a hobby, we would take out of
Right.
our own pockets.
money.
Right.
And a bunch of people donated, like, yeah, you can take my props, because we were small fry.
Right.
Then we got a little bit bigger. We were with a company called Myish for a while. They gave us a little bit of funding. And then we were with Nerdist for a while, and they also gave us a little, and by a little, it's like not even half of what is spent now.
Right.
Yeah.
I know what little means.
Yeah, and so when we were on our own, and basically, you know, people think like, oh, once you sign with someone, your contract lasts forever. It doesn't, and you have to both agree, like, yeah, we still want to make this work, and sometimes they go, it was nice, but we have other things that we're gonna put our money
Right.
into. So we had that happen to us where we're no longer with a partner. And we have not enough money because now the funding was there, so obviously our little pockets can't fund.
And that's just it. People don't realize how much some of this stuff costs.
Oh,
I mean,
fool.
just renting a camera, you know,
Yeah.
for a day,
Yeah.
and you know, a switcher or any of this.
You
stuff.
don't want to know. We'll
Yeah.
just
You
don't
say
wanna
that. You'd be like, what?
Well, if you did know, you'd donate more.
So we started in 2015, and we were honest with the fans, and we said, like, we would like to start a Patreon. We are no longer with a partner. And we have been funded on Patreon, which is a platform where a
Right.
fan can tip you like 2 to 10 to whatever they want to give a month, kind of like a subscription
Right.
to support. And we've had that for the past 5 years, which is insane.
Yeah.
And it's like basically the same people giving monthly and donating their funds to help us create one project a year, which is like unheard of to me.
Yeah.
But that shows you the heart of our fandom, how much they love our work, and they're
And
demanding.
how hungry they are for more.
They're demanding
Yes,
more.
they
They
want
want
more.
more,
Right.
and it's so heartbreaking to me to not be able to produce that. But like, unless our Patreon grows a lot, and we finally get the numbers up a little bit, then we can produce more. But right now, our thankfully we have something, but unfortunately it's only one production,
Right,
you know? So,
right.
but they totally understand that. They're like, it's okay, I'll wait.
I know.
I'm like, wow.
And I think that that's amazing, and that speaks to the quality of your work. And not only just the technical quality, but also it's not, I mean, this is something that I would not be surprised to go to a movie theater and see.
Oh, wow.
You know, the writing is good. Your character developments are great. The technical stuff is like I say, that's what I'm looking at. You know, how'd you cut that? You know, where do blah blah blah. And you guys also do the editing as well, do you not?
Yeah.
Hilly does the editing.
Right.
Yes.
Hannah's category is pre-production.
Okay.
So once I vomit the idea to her, she has to scoop it up.
The nightmare is
put it
taken
together.
by me.
Yeah, clean it up and make it shiny and perfect and organized, which
Handle all the problems basically that
I am a very
arise.
calculated individual in my creativity, not in organization. So I tell her everything that I want, and she does it word for word. And I don't know how she does it, but she does.
If I don't do it, there's a problem.
And that brings me to one of my other questions, is that do you find that works so well because you are sisters and you've kind of grown up together?
We both do the same like head movement. We're like, oh, let's think about it. It works that we're sisters because at least we both have the same love and the same goal.
Right.
The hard part about it is that our sisterhood relationship isn't as, I guess, normal as it should be, because every time we're together, it's Hillywood.
Right.
And we have tried to set aside time, like, hey, let's watch a film together. Hey, let's do normal things.
Like as the years have gone on, we
it's
literally
just-
haven't gone to the movies together in probably
No.
like 4 or 5 years. Like there's no date nights
Most-
as sisters. Like, hey, girl night.
Yeah.
That don't exist.
Most of our
Like,
sister
it's just
time
work.
is like her behind my back as I'm digitally grading for hours, and like we're talking about the most random crap, seriously, that we can think of, and that's kind of where our sister.
That's where it is.
And if we do
When
like,
it's amidst
yeah,
work, right?
if we travel on road trips, my gosh, you can't shut us up. We're like chatterbox, talking about nonsense.
We drove to LA just recently, and we didn't stop talking for like 4
hours.
hours, and even on the ride back.
Yeah, we're just
Like because we haven't had time to just sit and talk
Right.
because literally our 2019 was called
I don't
Umbrella
even
Academy
know
Parody.
like
Yeah.
that it was 2019.
I know, it went like
I just
that.
spent time with my dad. We just went to the shooting range because he's a retired Metro police officer.
The one up on Decatur?
I don't recall. Like I don't remember. I was talking to him, so I wasn't seeing where we were. But he took us down there, and he was like, "Yeah, Michael, I haven't been shooting for a while. I hope I'm still good." And he's like, "You'll be fine. Well, we were here 6 months ago." And I was like, "No, we weren't." And he's like, "Yeah, we were." And I was like, "A year and a half ago."
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "What?" He was like, "Could have swore it was last year." I go, "No, last year was Umbrella Academy Parody. It wasn't last year." Because Umbrella Academy started in March of last year.
Right.
So we only had 2 months of normal
Well, in
2019.
January we actually went into pre-production for something for 2 months,
Yeah.
and that was a nightmare. And at the last minute, something fell
dropped.
through
Then we-
completely.
yeah.
The whole thing just, and that's never happened to us before. To where we were literally this close to making purchases. We were already booking actors. We were booking studios, which luckily we didn't lose anything on it, but we were this close.
In 2019,
And then we went to
didn't work,
another
yeah.
idea, and another idea fell through.
Yeah,
After
second
working
one.
for like 2 weeks straight on it, and we were like, "What is happening?"
and then I got a
But
surgery.
now you know why. that
Yeah.
happened.
Then I had a-
Wait, hang on just a second. The phones always break when you guys are here, but they're working now, so I didn't. I just had to check. That reminded me. But because those two fell through, that's
that's when I binged Umbrella Academy, because Umbrella Academy wasn't released until February.
Right.
So see how it works out. Then I came up with the idea, and once I hit the concept, it hit me like hard.
so how do you decide which character you want to play in a particular? I mean,
I don't know. Most of the time we choose, but there has been a couple that I don't see myself playing and I end up playing, like Rick from The Walking Dead. I did
Yeah.
not like envision myself in that role. So she was like, "Yeah, you can get away with it." And I was like, "But I'll look tiny." She's like, "No, we'll film it good. Don't worry." And I was like, "Okay." Sam from The Lord of the Rings, I did not think I could do that at
Yeah.
all. But for something like the Umbrella Academy, right when I was watching the episodes and number 5 came in, there was something about his body language, his profile. I could like visually see myself in that role, and I was like, that's a fun role. I want to play that role. And that's why I kind of built, like, in a sense, that's what it is. I have such a love for the movies. It's like, okay, I want to be that. Now let's build around it. So it's always like, what can we do? But other times, like Rick, The Walking Dead, I didn't even see me. I just saw Rick, and I was like, I want to do that. Yeah. So it really depends on what I link to and what I can understand of the characters and what I can build from that.
In other words, you're crazy.
Yeah. In other words, I have some weird extra.
God accidentally went, whoops, too much creativity. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Shoot. Too late.
Glitter everywhere.
I mean, you have to be, and I mean, most actors say you have to be a little insane or a little childlike to, right. I mean, just being an actor in general, you have to be, in a sense, kind of childlike, because you want to be another person. You want to have fun. You want to play. Because
you want to pretend.
All
like how when
acting
you were a kid,
is an escape. It's I'm not this person, but I get to be that person. And actors have fun. And the same thing with directors and script writers. They want to make stories because they have it in their heads, so they put it on paper. So I think everyone in the industry is just slightly insane, but we embrace it and we love it.
I think
it has to be. It's like we don't know what to do with all this.
You're open to whatever it is going on around us, and able to kind of channel that, if you will. I don't know.
Yeah, basically.
It's the same with music. I don't know how people can just sit there.
Do you have anything in there, anything going on in there that you're saying, I want to do this. It's not a parody. It's something that I want to create from scratch. I mean, do you have any stories or stuff like that you?
I do. Yeah. I have one, but I don't. Like I said, I don't know where it's going. But I can see the colors. I can see the world. I can envision the title intro, which is weird when I don't even know what it's about.
Is it that one you told me?
Yeah.
And I was like, why is it such a hard title intro? I hate you.
And I have like a few characters that I can like see. But that one, I honestly don't know like really what the story's about. Right. I can just see them. This other one I never told you. I told Mom the other day.
But if you do it right, the characters will tell you what the story is about.
My sister's great.
Yeah. Then I have another one that's more like, I guess, kind of comedy action. And my mom really loved that one. And I was like, what? Like, I did not, okay. But that one, I know the story and I know what it's about, but it's more about filling in the gaps.
Gotcha.
But that one I already know, but I don't love it visually as much as I love the first one. But those are things that it's like I'm not really focused on.
Is there any way to combine the two?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, complete, like the film, like the aesthetic is like neon, apocalypse, and over here is like film grainy, like Godfather-ish, like they're completely different worlds. Yeah, but that's not what we're focused on right now. It's fun to play around a bit, but I have fans to attend to.
Right.
You know, they're waiting, and I can't just be like, peace, I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great, and that's why.
I think the fans would probably love that. Love to see something like that.
Well, see, we took a risk
I'm
with
scared,
this last one. We did take a risk, and we would see.
With the Umbrella
Yeah,
Academy?
I mean,
because it was
the
so
majority
scripted.
was, you know, I have to say 98% like, I love it, and then you got like the 2% that's like, why is this not musical?
But you're always going to have that.
Right, but it made us feel good to actually escape that. It started feeling like a caged thing of creativity that we couldn't escape, and so for her, she goes, there's still music. We're in a cage, but the top is off, basically. So we can fly around a little bit in this other zone, and people have loved it so much that it's opening up the door for the future. For that, we were like, maybe we could play around a little bit differently with Hillywood here and there. I don't know if we could go off the scale because all the funds for a production would go to that.
That would be something to where that's a full script, that's like a full either movie or episodic series to where then you pitch, because that cannot be funded by fans. Like that is outside of Hillywood's world. But it made me...
That will happen. That will happen for you guys.
Oh, I don't.
I know. No. I know how hard that you're working to try to open those doors.
But what's so crazy for me, and this is the thing, because I'm reading more scripts and I'm really getting into just trying to understand like how to basically build off of nothing. Right. Because I've always been influenced, but I'm now learning take what I like and build off of that and make it original. But my problem is like I'm reading all these scripts and like they're so simple and it's just like, let's just say a Lifetime script. A girl falls in love with a man and they live happily ever after. Me and my stupid brain is like, I need special effects, I need flying jibs, I need explosions, I need a rig that circles around the character, I need green screen. Like, it is like when I make something, it's like I can't contain it, and that's my problem. But I mean, I think
Hilly's the razzle dazzle on.
But I think that's why it's like if I'm going to do an original series or original movie, it better be freaking good.
Yeah.
Like that's my perspective, and I think she's right there with me. Like
And
she
you're
understands.
scared to death, aren't you?
No,
No,
it's exciting.
no. I think it's great. So long as we have a budget and we have help,
yeah.
I'm like all for it
Right.
because I can handle.
It's
I'm a great director when I have the help and people go, what do you need? What? So long as they know how to
so
do their job, I go
scary.
this, and this.
Right.
Well, we don't have this right. The fabric didn't turn out right. Okay, well you need to go get a more maroon one. Okay, I'll come back with pictures. Go. Like I mean, I can handle.
But it's
when
so scary talking to you though about the
For me.
ideas. I know, but when it's so scary
oh,
talking
my
to you
face?
because I'm saying
My
like
face?
for Suicide Squad Parody, for example, I'm like so then it comes to the dancing and like I envision like police cars and military behind, you know, the squad and she's going, and I go and then like there's fire and explosions and cannons and she's going and I'm like and I have to like gently talk or like for like the apocalypse I'm like for you know, Umbrella Academy, I'm like, and then it cuts to like 5 in the apocalypse, and he's walking,
I go, okay,
and she
so
goes,
it's just the road, right?
and I go, no, like
no,
white
it's
chalk.
like the rubble where he.
yeah, that's right.
That's
Where did
three
you-
different
where did you
locations.
find that?
That's 3 different locations.
Okay.
That's why I go, do you know how much money that is?
Yeah.
Like it's 3 different locations, Hilly. Because every time you tell me something, I'm praying it's on the same location, it's the same costume.
And then I
it's
go, and then like I envision like synchronized swimmers. Like anytime I tell her, and I hate that feeling because I just want to be so creative and just blast it. But I always get like a pit in my stomach going, here it comes, like synchronized swimmers. And I just wait because I know anything I say is an added price
And all she
tag.
hears is-
unless I'm like, when we're in the same room and the camera moves. Like,
she hears
and then like for like Sherlock,
just
I'm like,
the breathing,
and then I go,
the heavy breathing.
for Sherlock Parody, I was like, so, and then we can maybe go to like London and maybe we can try to get permission to film outside the actual location.
Are
and
you
she's
crazy?
and she's just sitting there like with her little pen like
Because I write down and I go, okay, so this is one location, and then I start going through it, and by the end of it,
it's like 25 locations. Yeah.
Hilly. And like I've had to cut things back. Like we actually had to cut things back from Umbrella Academy
Yeah,
Parody.
the script just kept going.
There was still creativity, but I was like, we need to.
I liked that bar scene though that got cut. That was
I
cute.
know, I
How
know.
cute
The being able to cut things out without losing the soul of your
Right.
project, that's the hard part.
We rarely cut it.
I had, you know who Rich Little is, right? The comedian?
Yes.
Okay, ask your grandfather.
He would know.
He's an impression. He does impressions of different. I had the opportunity to have him in the studio once, and with another group, and we were filming over there. You were over at the little one that I had over there in the over in the and so he's in there, and I had almost 2 hours of film of Rich Little, and I mean he just went off, and it was just like, and I'm back there going, whoa, this is great, I got all this stuff, and so the producer and the director came and said, okay, John, we need to cut that down to 2 minutes. And I went, what? And he goes, yeah, we need to cut that down to 2 minutes. And I go, well, what 2 minutes? He goes, I don't know, just pick something. And so I spent the next week going through all of this stuff, and I'm going, I can't cut this, I can't cut this, I can't cut this, I can't cut this. And I
That's a
finally
bit
did. I
annoying.
just said, okay, all right, here it is. You know? But you know what I mean? You know what I mean, right?
At some point you're just like whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
because
Nobody-
it was all good. And the people watching it didn't know that there was
Exactly.
didn't know all this other stuff
Yes,
was cut out.
Exactly. That's what I've had
And-
to tell
and-
her. I'm
and
like,
that's-
people don't know your script.
Right.
Because we did have to cut out a couple of things. And she's like, I know, but I feel like that kind of brings more heart to that point. And I
Right.
go, we don't have the money. So you have to cut it
and
back.
we do, you know, read-throughs where
we make smart
where we
decisions,
would
though, I
read
think.
the script out loud. We would kind of act it out, do a rough thing, and we would feel, there'd come a point where I go, was that a little long? Did that feel a little? And she goes, Yeah, it's like, because when you do it in real time, that's why they have, script sit
Right.
downs, that's why they read,
Right.
because you have to feel a rhythm. And when we cut it out, boy, did it feel better.
Yeah.
Because you start feeling like, and you've been there, you've watched episodes, like, people aren't stupid, and you kind of go, you never want people to do the shifty move. That's a bad
Shifty
sign.
pants dance.
Yeah,
Well,
the shifty
and I
pants, it's like,
tell
let's
some of the
go.
show hosts here, like they
bad
have an
sign.
hour. They have an
bad
hour
omen.
show, or
Yeah.
they have a 30-minute
Shifty
show.
move, yeah.
They adjusted.
Shoot! Cut it out!
No, it's true, because you watch films, like when people watch our parodies, we've noticed.
watched them. That's why
they don't move
That's
for
one
like
of the-
10
Yeah.
minutes.
One of the reasons why we ask for reaction videos
We love it.
is to not only enjoy them, but to learn and to go, okay, they like that, they like
And
this.
see, that's
yeah.
brilliant. And how did you figure that out, or how did you decide that's what you wanted? I mean, what?
To do parodies?
No. To get the reaction films though.
Just for fun. I think,
Yeah, I
especially, it
think-
happened.
That was
When
years
did we
ago.
start doing it? Was it Supernatural Parody? I think that was the first time.
No. What? No. Wait.
No.
Lord of the Rings.
No, Lord, remember that.
People were crying for Lord of the Rings. they were
yeah,
like, oh
when
my
did-
God.
What was the first one we did?
Was
Walking
it
Dead?
Was it The Walking
Dead?
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
I
so.
think so. But not
Sorry,
many
we had
people.
to go, that,
No,
that
no,
was
that-
like
yeah,
chapters
Not
and
many people responded to that one because it was like a first
was the
time.
first time.
But for Lord of the Rings, we did see
I
people
don't
crying,
know.
and that was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't know why we did it. I think it was
think it
more
was just for fun,
to involve
involve,
fans
Okay.
more and
Right.
like give a prize out. But then by doing that, we started learning through it.
Right.
And then we also got a lot of like it's not like
The word
Like it-
pleasure, like joy out of watching it, because you
Right.
work so hard, and then to see them appreciate it and not like, I liked it, when's the next one? And you're like,
like it's them going.
it made
oh
it-
my gosh, and you
And
go,
not
oh.
only that, like, it has a ton of perks, but another perk is that it makes our premieres an event.
Yeah.
So, like, they stay at home, they get either in their costumes, and they make their popcorn, and they sit down, and they get the butterflies, and they put themselves on camera. Like, it's, because we don't have movie premieres, it's like, that's our way of premiering
Right.
our stuff, is making them feel involved, and knowing Hilly and Hanna are gonna see me react. And we do, we sit there and we watch
watch them
everybody's.
all.
Yeah.
So
All.
it's a huge joy, and it makes us like feel so good because we work so hard. And yes, a comment is a comment, but seeing them talk and laugh and smile, like, that's what you want.
Right. Well, that's why you do it.
Yeah.
Part of why you do it.
Yeah.
So, what is the one thing that you guys enjoy doing together on a project? Is there one thing that I love doing this with my sister? I love, or is it?
I think
Oh
it's like
God.
the whole thing. I think the whole shebang. We just kind of love doing it
I-
together.
I think what we enjoy the most is when we get like a costume piece that's
Right?
Yeah.
That we go, it looks so good, and we both enjoy that because we've
And
searched for hours and hours and hours.
I mean, besides the Umbrella Academy parody, how stressful that first day was, usually the first day of shooting is like, oh my God, like, we're doing this, it looks good, the costumes look great, because you see it happening,
Yeah.
and that's what's special, I think. Especially,
I'm too stressed out
well,
the
no,
first
but
day.
no, I know, but when you're like on the set of the Umbrella Academy parody and everyone was on the table, it's like I got like that excitement of, this is why I do what I do, because that's my happy little
See,
place.
that's your happy little place. My
I
my little brain's going, I hope I get everything right today. That's what I'm
No, for
thinking.
me, it's
I
just-
like doing the
it's
hard, rough edits
freeing,
with
yeah.
you.
Oh,
And
see, that's
having the
not-
full rough edit
That's
and being
not
able
entirely
to
my
watch it.
Yeah.
Honestly, my favorite's it's done. I'm happy when it's
That's a
out
wrap.
and we can when we release it.
Yeah.
Yes, filming, of course, because you're exhausted, but then after that, it's just months and months on end of just sitting on the computer because we have no team.
Right.
It is her doing everything, and I'm sitting there doing this the whole time, or giving my opinion on, is it too pink, is it too green, is it whatever, and you stare at it.
and we had it for 4 months before
No,
we
my happiness is
was
being
really
on
hard.
set, being in costume, being around the people that, are my friends, and that's my happy place. Like, that's where I live. Like, outside of that, I would probably be a very depressed person, which scares me, because Hillywood is like I couldn't go to Hollywood, so I created Hillywood.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm gonna act, and this is how it's gonna do, and this is how I'm gonna be happy in life. And that's why I do it. It's like, and
it's obviously worked.
well, we'll see. But I mean, yeah, that's, I don't know. And I hope to God it goes somewhere big in the next couple months, because we're at a point where the fans are demanding more. I want to do so much more. And like I said, unless our Patreon like skyrockets and we get a whole bunch of new fans on there giving their little $2 to help us, we are unable to like continue in such a big production.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to make it downscale it a little bit and just kind of wait around. But we don't want to do that. We want to
understand,
go
because
guns a-blazing like
you
we've done this
lose
for
that
13
momentum.
years. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
Well,
hurts a lot.
It is. It's exhausting. Number
Yeah.
one, it's exhausting, and then on top of that, the budget gets higher and higher
Yeah.
with each one
Right.
because as time goes on, it's a lot of
Friends that help
Well-
us, and they'll say, look, like, can you give me a little more on this production? Like, it is nothing with regard to
the
the
salary of what you should be paying anyone
Right.
for anything, and it's still so low.
But
and
if we
also,
say,
I
like,
work for free.
but like we book them for like 12 days of filming, so
Right.
they take off of work, of
Yeah.
course. So it's like we want them to feel
or they'll
appreciated.
take our job instead of another job,
Right.
and they get paid way less on our jobs, but they
go, you only come around once a year.
And we love working with you.
Yeah, we love how
It's
the
always
projects, it
fun.
always comes out, it always turns out, you never disappoint.
Do you guys happen to know Joe Lujan?
No.
Okay, I have an idea.
Okay.
No. I'm always thinking. Joe Lujan is a local independent filmmaker. Corey works with him all the time. He does horror films,
okay.
and
Have yet to
he's got
experience
half a
that.
dozen. He's got half a dozen out now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I need to talk to him. But my point being, there is a whole ton of streaming services out there that are screaming for content. And we need to find a way to make that connection and get that in a way that they're not going to come in and say, okay, well, we'll give you this, but you have to do this, this, and this. That they will come in and say, okay, do your thing.
Yeah,
Right.
where the
that's-
trust is there.
Yeah,
obviously.
and I know it's difficult, but with what you're doing, try not to sell out. Unless you have to so that you
yeah.
can do this.
No, we are.
That's a different
right,
story,
right.
you know?
No, we are very level-headed when it comes to things like that.
Right, it's obvious, yeah.
We look. Thankfully, we have each other, so we never go into these meetings alone.
Right.
And we speak secret languages with secret looks and secret moves, because like we read
It's a
our body
sister thing.
language
Yeah.
so
We
good.
know.
we know when a meeting's going sideways. But I mean, that's what it takes. It's going to take someone who can see our potential,
Right.
can appreciate what we do, gets it, loves it, and wants more of it, and supports it. 'Cause
Well,
that's,
I buy lottery
that's
tickets
fine.
every month, so when I hit the lottery, you guys, we got it.
thank you.
And it's just, I guess that's what, I see the potential and the talent that you guys have there, and I know it took me, this is, what I'm doing now is something I've wanted to do my whole life. I mean, I went to Hollywood High School. I grew up with some of those people, and it's always something, but I had a family, had to work, had to make a living, and this was always in the back of my mind. And when I retired, and fell into this kind of accidentally on purpose, but and to see
Accidentally on purpose.
well, it's a long story that I'll tell you sometime. But
Don't catch me. Oh no.
seeing what you guys, your passion, and how passionate you are about what you do, and how that passion comes out in your work, and I'm just going, my God, these guys could just. And one day somebody's going to say, wow, you guys are an overnight sensation, without realizing, hey, it took us 13, 14 years to get here.
It usually does.
Right.
Usually when someone tells you their whole backstory,
It's like about 10 years.
it's about
10,
like, I've been
15.
doing this for 10, 12 years, and you're like, holy cow, well,
Yeah.
I never heard of you.
Right.
But it's like, you have to. And honestly, the ones who hit overnight success, yes, they have a fandom, but they don't have that fire behind
They
them.
also have overnight failure.
Yeah, but they don't have that fire behind them
Right.
of pursuing and that level head, like that ground level that they need to be at to appreciate.
It's that balance.
And that's when we see like Jensen and Jared, I think that's why they are so nice to their fans from Supernatural, because they started from ground zero.
Right.
And they have worked hard, those guys, for years to build that fandom. And they treat all their fans with love and respect. Because guess what? It wasn't overnight like success. You have to work hard. You have to put in the hours. And those are the people you want to connect with.
Exactly.
And that's why I hope someone that we connect with can go,
Right.
I've been there. I've also worked hard. I get it. And whether or not they can, you know, Hillywood obviously has to change a little bit for streaming services.
Sure.
Like there has to be some sort of, and
You'd
that's
have to,
fine.
You'd have to do 22-minute or 28-minute
Right.
Right.
segments.
So and that's fine,
But-
and we're ready for that.
Yeah, and we're
if
okay
you
with
had
that.
if you had the funding, if you had the equipment,
Oh my gosh.
I
yes.
mean, you could be cranking this stuff out.
If
So
we had a
long-
team.
So long as we
All
had
you
the
had-
team.
Yeah, that's what I mean. All you have to do.
Yeah, I
can
don't
do-
want to be thrown in the, you find your team. Oh my gosh, no, give me the team. Give me the team. We don't have time
Well,
for this.
I would like to pick our people.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, all you'd have to do is 12 a year, or 8 a year.
All you have to do.
Only 12 a year.
We're shooting for 6.
Yeah.
We're shooting for a 6-episode series.
Yeah, so
That's-
Okay.
you know, this
That's
year
good
that
for like
you
a
know,
sketch show
we're-
format.
Yeah, no, and
We're
that's good.
trying. You know, it's hard. You can't just knock. Hi,
Yeah, I
I got
know.
a deal for you. Like,
It's literally who you know.
No, exactly.
so we're saying our prayers, crossing our fingers.
It seems like there's some opportunities, but you know, we don't know the ways God has for us. We feel like our plans are one way and we think that's the highway, and as we're about to step on the train completely takes off and we fall on our face and we're like, what was that about?
and that's happened about
We
4 times.
already got our
already.
ticket. We're right here. We
Yeah.
have the ticket to board. Nope, you missed the train. Is there going to be another train? Where do we go from here? Like
Yeah.
that's where we've been at.
That's happened
but
about 4 times.
It seems like right now
in the
we
past
have
couple of years, yeah.
a ticket. There looks to be a train at the station, so we're
That
gonna
light
walk.
at the end of the tunnel
We're
is a
gonna
train.
walk-
We're slowly walking
We're
our
just,
way.
we have our foot like this, ready to step on to go, but we need confirmation.
Yeah,
We need
I
to
understand.
know if a meeting is actually set,
Yeah.
if a person actually wants to bring us in. If
it's looking very promising.
it's looking
that,
positive,
that at
but
least we can talk. And
That does
if,
my heart
but
good.
we
if
still
it goes one way, that's great. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, then
we have to be
you know,
optimistic.
We
Right.
just for right now.
Well,
you know,
listen, if it's fallen apart 4 times and you haven't given up, you got it.
Sorry, we're quoting movies.
No,
now.
It's,
So you really think you're Santa?
We've been in our, and we don't tell our fans or really talk to them about like, hey guys, I'm having an awful day today. We keep that to ourselves.
I know, and I like that.
And
Oh, yeah.
but it is hard. Where sometimes we question, why are we doing what we're doing? This is never going to go anywhere. No one's ever going to want us. And we cry and we cry and we basically mourn over something that we've loved and we don't understand why it hasn't gone.
Right.
But I think it's literally the timing. I think God has set us up for this, to reach other people, you know, basically minister to them and give them love to go do what they do, because that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story.
Of
And-
how many
and
people have
I-
done
I've-
that.
You've
I've-
inspired me, and now I'm going to film college. I'm like, what?
I didn't go to college,
Yeah,
so good
or
for you.
I
Go learn
was-
all you can, because I
Yeah.
didn't learn anything.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
I was
But you
depressed,
did.
but I'm not depressed anymore because Hillywood gives me hope and all this stuff to where you just
My mother
kind of.
passed away. I hadn't smiled in 6 months. I watched this. This is my first laugh I've had, and you're like, so is this why I'm doing what
Yeah,
I'm
it's
doing?
just one of those things,
It's
and it's
interesting.
very. And I've been having a really hard time dealing with. Well, what about me and Hannah? Well, what about like where does Hillywood go? But you know, honestly, that's just something spiritually that I have to be at peace with and go. God will provide. God will always be there. Whether this falls apart, I will have a future, and that's been the hardest
Right.
thing for us to just kind of ground ourselves in. But
When I'm going through things like that, I kind of tell myself, Job was a lightweight. Based on what I'm going through.
oh my gosh.
So you just, I just look at everything as,
Joe
A
was a
test.
lightweight.
you know, how bad do you really want this?
Oh yeah.
You know, and so you know, if you're gonna give up too easy, then I'm sorry, I'm gonna take it away from you. You know.
Oh, no, no,
So
no.
and I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
you know that, and I don't mean to be. I wasn't trying to be you know
No,
Smarty
we're
aleck, but-
little warriors, and that's why we question why are we doing this. It's because we can't. There's something in us that is like we don't want to give up.
Yeah. And
But
we're really, believe it or not, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So what I'd like is, do you have anything that you personally want to say to the fans before we wrap this up?
This is national, no, just thank you for your love and support. Thank you for those who are donating on patreon.com/Hillywood. Thank you for believing in us and wanting us to succeed. And I would just ask that, for you guys before you go to bed, say a little prayer, whether you believe in it or not, that, we can be taken to the next level so that we can give you guys more awesome content because we have a lot of ideas.
Yeah, you could actually binge Hillywood.
Yay!
And not have to wait a year. Even that you guys are so faithful. And thanks to those who have been faithful. I know that some have been giving for over 5 years, just
Wow.
continuously. And thank you, because literally, without you, we don't exist.
And 10% of your donations is given to St. Jude Children's Hospital.
That I love.
Yeah, we love to give back.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're starting this year. We're focusing on working with a lot of nonprofits, and we're just barely hanging on here, and we don't have a lot of money to give. So if you have a nonprofit or a private charity, get a hold of me. We will do a 1-minute commercial for you. We'll drop them in our shows, help to get the word out. I work with a lot of animal rescues.
Oh, that's so cool.
I have 3 cats and a dog, and they're all rescues. Anyway, and that was one of the things I loved about you guys too, because St. Jude goes way back, and I mean, anyway, I have some personal stories. A friend of mine that because of St. Jude is alive today. So
Wow.
Oh, wow.
so that's
And
cool.
we have fans that are children that
Yeah.
are in St. Jude that watch what we create.
Okay.
So that's why we give.
And that's
That's good.
we give to also because, scripturally it does say like when you give, God will bless you.
Yes.
And it's like, and we've seen that and we feel that like even though, let's just say we have no money for the month of Hillywood, we still give our 10%, and there's something to where you just go, it's not mine, it's yours. You've given us this, so we give back.
Gotcha.
Because that's why take all the money for just us. It's like there's people who need it more than us. So
And
there you go.
that's-
And it,
just the
it
fact
feels
that-
really good.
The fact that you understand that,
Yes.
Well, it
is
feels good to give.
Yeah, it
it's
does.
just like Christmas. It's like I get more excited seeing you open your gift
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than me. I'm always like,
You're
don't
like,
look
okay,
at me.
okay, I'm opening my
I love
gift.
it. Please open yours.
Okay, so it's time for my final question.
Okay,
Now, I'm going to ask you first, Hilly.
the lights are gonna dim.
So no, you have to plug your ears so you can't hear the question.
gosh.
No, I'm teasing.
I was like,
So-
okay.
Because
just like trivia?
I'm asking you both the same question.
Okay.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
We'll
If
probably
you
have the
ha-
same answer.
If you had the power to do one thing, just one thing,
Just
to
one
make the
thing?
world a better place,
Oh.
what would that one thing be?
We're all thinking like superpowers, and we're like, oh, the world.
But that is a superpower. If you could make the world a better place,
Oh my God. Oh, good Lord.
I don't know.
It goes too deep.
It goes too deep.
I know.
It goes too deep to make the world a better place. Good question. That I don't know if I can answer.
I have an answer for you.
Damn it.
Hold on,
Sorry, excuse me. I think people would be very upset if I said this, but
don't say it.
no. It's not like I mean, like people might have negativity towards it. I think it's been a blessing and a curse. I would rather go back to no social media
Oh, wow.
because it was more going to your neighbor's house and knocking on the door, calling your friend on the phone, calling, like date nights. And
I know
Being there
exactly.
with
I know exactly
people.
what
I
you're talking
know.
about.
I
an
know.
old-fashioned way of, not old-fashioned, but like the 70s, the 80s, like whatever, like how that
You
was.
hung around
where
the kitchen table
Yeah.
with your neighbors.
Well,
yeah.
you'd
out in the
have
backyard,
friends,
barbecues. Yeah, right.
kids riding their
Block
bikes,
parties.
playing chalk on the street. Like now it's just this, and it's a blessing that we can get news quickly and get information and work faster, but it's become, I feel like, a burden.
Yeah.
So for me, I would rather strip that.
It's not only brought us together, but it's keeping us apart.
I got an answer.
Okay,
It just
what's
came
your
to me.
answer?
My answer is whenever, and if you pay attention, normal day life, people don't look at each other. You're scared of your neighbor. You're scared of, you walk in fear if you're alone and a woman at night. You don't talk to your coworkers. Like, everyone's in a bubble, right? But like when you see these videos and things get posted when it's like, you know, disaster happens,
Right.
or, you know, chaos, and all of a sudden these people look at you and there's something in you, that bubble is gone, and it's like how God created people. It's like we were supposed to live together.
Right.
And it's like there's something there that pops.
That
and
wall is dropped
it's popped,
immediately.
and you suddenly care for the person. You're like, what's happening? What's going on? Should we help him? And it's like you no longer live in fear. You live in, like, in a sense, the perfect world where
The way you're
people
supposed to.
care and love for each
Right.
other, how God created us.
Exactly.
A world without sin and fear and violence. And that's what would make the world a better place if those bubbles were permanently popped. You know what I mean?
So,
Yeah.
I want everybody
Wow,
going
that
out there
was
now.
really deep,
Pop in your
guys.
bubble.
About those.
Sorry. No, I do, because I go, God, I've been there.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in places where something bad happens, and I immediately am like, there's no more.
Yeah, I
There's
know
no,
what you're talking about.
It's the best feeling.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling because you feel finally for once safe with
Okay,
others.
and I'll tell you, what you guys are doing, you know, with your projects and stuff like that, you are making the world a better place. Because look at your fan base and look at what you've done to bring those people together to share something that is beautiful, and you know, so you
Yeah.
keep it up there.
Oh.
So. All right. So
Thanks.
I'm sorry, but we got to wrap this up. Everybody, thank you very much. We do appreciate you coming back. We do appreciate you supporting this show and all the others here. And don't forget, this Saturday at 9 a.m. over at Borders on Rainbow, I'll be doing my book signing. So.
You wrote a book?
No, I just go over to Barnes & Nobles and I sign books. When people buy a book, I sign it for them. And, you know, so. Anyway, you know how it is. Thank you, Hilly. Thank you, Hannah. Please keep it up. And if anybody knows anybody out there who knows anybody, please get a hold of them. And let's.
You never know.
Yeah, you just never know. It only takes that one person.
Yes, it sure
Yes,
does.
Okay. And
Bye.
remember, everybody, if you're going to do it with styles. Bye.
Bye.
Nice work, John.